The one that went through originally was supposed to have Bullet Train on it. What happens when I get content blocked, because I did get content blocked on today's upload, which today is the 23rd or the 24th. Let me look at radio. It's the 24th. Okay. So it was for way back in March because I'm a month behind. But today got blocked, so I had to go in. The first thing I did was I dropped Bullet Train at the bottom. Bullet Train only showed a few clips of Brad Pitt. It does show a clip of him. It does show a clip. I just didn't add Bullet Train on the title, just in case they blocked because of that. But Bullet Train, only a segment went through. It was just like just a clip of showing him on the train, or sitting there with the other guy, the other black guy that tries to kill him. So they blocked that, and so I immediately took that out, most of that, but I left a little bit on accident, really. And I thought, what is it? What is it? And I looked through a list, and they show you this was partial block, partial block, partial block, partial block. Then it said content block in red, and it said Eurythmics. So I played Eurythmics song, Sweet Dreams, too much, too long. So I went through, I found it, I had to listen, and I had to find it, and then I just cut that out, reposted it with a different title. A slightly different title, just in case they blocked before. Those are getting a little bit better to fix. Then I was able to send it through. Those are usually the ones that make me mad. I got to find this Murphy's to get some upside. So while using Upside, you do want to get the receipt that shows the gas that's pumped, right? It's the pumped gas, so you're not Winona Ryder in Reality Bites. But kind of, as long as you have that receipt that comes out of here, which they'll ask for in a minute. All right, receipt, absolutely. It'll come out of here. I'm not gonna show all of it, but you'll hear it. Because those are worth money if they print. Okay, so now we got to get the receipt. All right, so on this one, since I'm making money doing that, we'll go ahead and go like that. Okay. So you can always, you can use it, but it has to be the pumped gas. So when you do the Upside, it has to show the pumped gas. It asks for the address and all that stuff, but it already has it on the receipt. Now, if you were able to use it without the pump gas, you could make a living doing it, because you just let the money go back to the card, and then they're paying you for a little bit amount, and you go around just buying gas for a living. They don't do it that way. It would be cool if they did. You have to have it saying the pumped gas, so the amount of gas that's pumped. And a lot of times, in most cases, I have a few that are verifying, because you have to do it through Apple, I think. You have to use the Apple. You have to pay with the Apple thing. This is a different one because it's a RaceTrac, and I'm chasing claims. So you find the claim and you send it through, and some of that money comes back, and over time it starts to build up, and you make a little bit of money doing it. I just found out about this, and I had done rideshare for like 3 or 4 years, and delivery the same. I still got ranch, but this is like a jalapeno thing with sausage. We sometimes have pending ones, and I got Ghoster right here. I'm doing Ghoster now because it has vitamin C as well. Let me double check. Okay, this one does vitamin C 90%, or really 100%, and then niacin 100%, and vitamin B12 100%, and vitamin B6. It's got all the carnitine, taurine, natural caffeine. It's a little bit better than the Red Bulls. Sometimes they're more expensive, sometimes not, but usually they're like by 50 cents or so more, depending on the Red Bull. It's kind of bubbly, tropical taste. This is the original. They're not too bad. I do like the Red Bull taste, though. If you watch all the episodes, or the vlogs, you'll notice I do show upside. And what I did was I took my iPhone 11 and I just filmed my phone, which is the iPhone 17 Pro, and then I just airdropped the footage from the iPhone 11 into the iPhone 17. Just airdrop it in. I do that every once in a while. I did use two cameras for quite a bit of time, where I was mostly doing the show off iPhone 11. It's just easier to do it off iPhone 17 Pro, so that's what I do. Oh, got a squirrel coming. Looks like a pretty good one. Now these, they'll get up on their hind legs like that, and very rarely do they ever face the camera. Now squirrels are not suicidal, but I found out that, or just by watching them, they do stop in the middle of the road for some reason. And many of the squirrels that are, I find, that are dead, it's always their head that is flattened. And I guess they can be probably run over by the body and still survive it probably. But they can't be ran over if it hits their head. Now, I don't know this for sure. I don't know if the squirrel goes off limping. In a lot of cases, it does flatten them. But most of the time when I see them, their heads are bursted. You know, if I see them on the road, it gets their head. Now, sometimes they'll stand in the middle of the road. So I looked up on Google. I said, you know, are squirrels suicidal? And it said, typically no. In most cases, squirrels are not suicidal. There it is. A bunch of them around here. He just ran for safety right there. They are quick, and according to cats, they're ninjas. They're the ninjas of the tree breed and stuff, because cats use trees too for shelter. They will run up trees just like cats. This one usually has mailbox overloaded, so that's what I put. I just put mailbox overloaded, no cars, and I don't bother to knock on that one. Something went wrong. Surprise.
I care. And I know that you can feel alone. You don't know that I care. What happens to you? And I know that you care. So, on the way to the storm, now that I'll find somewhere safe to bury my bones.
So how I deal with Quentin Tarantino is I was a big Reservoir Dogs fan. I saw Reservoir Dogs in Austin. It was like pretty much my favorite film other than Taxi Driver. I didn't put it on any list until way later, and I finally made top 11. So it's on my top 11 list of all-time great films. Reason I'm talking about this is there's a lot of different reasons why I'm talking about Quentin Tarantino. But anyway, I'll tell you Pulp Fiction. So when I first saw Pulp Fiction, I walked out of it because it wasn't exactly Reservoir Dogs. It had surfing music, and I was like, this is some studio trash, blah, blah. He did win an Oscar for it. And so I was like, okay, what the hell? By the time the two dudes got shot, and then the guy comes out of the bathroom, my friend actually hung out with that dude in a club. He was a cross-dresser. The guy that was in the bathroom with the gun, and he comes out and he shoots him, and he doesn't hit him. I'm like, he clearly didn't understand what's going on, like, what is this, some kind of supernatural Twilight Zone thing? So I was like, and I gave it a break for a while, and eventually my friends told me, you gotta go watch it, go back and watch it, and so eventually I got it on VHS, like Blockbuster, and I started watching it, and I was like, okay. I started getting it. By the time you get to Zed is Dead, that part where they're underground and the green door and all that stuff, it didn't make it or break it at that point. So I was already on the kind of the frequency. I was on a very realism, Taxi Driver is my favorite movie. Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver is my favorite movie. So it's I was on that kind of thing. Well, eventually, I don't know if Death Proof and all that stuff happened. I don't know exactly when that falls into thing. I didn't get into that until way later, way later. By the time I got into the whole birthday movie, it was way later, just recently. I didn't get into Death Proof until way later. Kurt Russell or whatever. Now, eventually, you go into Kill Bill, which I liked. I thought Kill Bill was pretty cool. Then Kill Bill 2, I didn't like it as much. And that's usually how it goes. And then I found out Kill Bill was one movie. They eventually made Kill Bill one movie. Well, after I spring out of Kill Bill, and I do this a lot, that's actually not the order. Okay, because I messed it up. After Pulp Fiction, you're already into Jackie Brown, because Jackie Brown is more kind of on Reservoir Dogs kind of way. So that's what I missed, was Jackie Brown. I was doing that. This was the reason why. I just downloaded all the songs from Jackie Brown. Well, I didn't download them, but I put them on a list. 110th Street and all that kind of stuff. Black exploitation. So we went with the Pulp Fiction. Actually, we started with Reservoir Dogs. Really liked it. I saw it in Austin. Then we got into, Pulp Fiction, and then we get into Jackie Brown, and then we eventually roll into Kill Bill. Then Kill Bill 2. Now, I know Inglourious Basterds is next because Christopher Waltz has another performance that he does later with Django. So Inglourious Basterds, totally one of my favorites. Really liked it. Liked the music, the David Bowie aspect to it, that one moment. Then we fly, and then also Brad Pitt, I thought he was really good in it too. I thought he was funny. Then we roll, after Inglourious Bastards, we roll into, of course, I just said it. Yeah, Django Unchained, which I did like. I thought it was entertaining. And I liked some of that. I used some of that stuff in my writing, too. The whole thing, how he explored corruption in law. You know, how there's corrupt law officials and stuff like that. Anyway, that's in there. It's like a big scene in there. So he's like kind of talking to the audience about certain things. Django Unchained moves on. We go away from that. Eventually we're going to fall into Hateful Eight, which I did like. I thought that was his most dark, evil kind of thing because of the score. That was his only movie that he did a score, and it's like dark. Almost to the point of almost kind of like satanic, but it's a Western. That's like how I felt when I've seen the horses run and all that stuff, even though it's kind of a comedy. But it's the way that the Jennifer Jason Leigh, is that her name? Jennifer Jason Leigh, yeah, how she's treated and everything. It's just very dark. Then we leave Hateful Eight and we get into Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I also liked. I saw that like 2 times in the movie theater, even took photos of it on the screen. So I really like that one. Now, of course, we're waiting for number 10. And then I have to do it in my head to find out if it is 10. And then I have to ask if is Death Proof included. So are we already at 10? The movie critic never made it. So it's kind of like there's a lot of like hidden things when you go back and you quote Quentin Tarantino as a writer. There's a lot of hidden things that come across, like when you're going by a school and you see a bunch of Red Apple stuff. He has the Red Apple cigarettes, you know, and you're like, you go by a school and you see Red Apple. Anyway, personally, I have some ideas for his number 10 film. Movie critic didn't make it. That was with Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, and Brad Pitt, but it supposedly didn't make it. One idea, of course, is Reservoir Dogs number 2. But the only one that survived was Mr. Pink, who we don't know if he survived all. There are a lot of gunshots, but people can get shot up and still survive. So Mr. Pink survives because we don't actually see him get hurt. So that's an idea. It's Reservoir Dogs Part 2, which I think he should do because it brings Steve Buscemi back. I think it'd be cool. But it could also be kind of like, for some reason, when I see it, or in my head, it takes place in Vegas. And it's kind of like Hard 8, if you're seeing P.T. Anderson's Hard 8. Only Mr. Pink has been in Vegas for a while, surviving basically as kind of like a con artist. And he helps these younger people get by. Almost the same exact story as Hard 8, if you've seen Hard 8 with P.T. Anderson. And you could even bring Samuel L. Jackson into it too, even though he did get killed in Hard 8, which is P.T. Anderson. But that's one good idea. That's sound. It's a Reservoir Dogs Part 2, basically. You could even maybe bring in Keitel, even though Keitel should have been dead. There could be a dream sequence or something with Keitel. Or, better yet, Tim Roth. You could probably bring him in too somehow, because he could have had like a twin brother. There you go. And that's an idea too. But then again, it could all, like, they're trying to get these diamonds because it could turn into Ocean's 11 too. And they're trying to get these diamonds in Vegas, and then Mr. Pink's behind it. A lot of the other guys you wouldn't be able to use, but you might could bring Sean Penn in rather than Chris Penn. Now, another example too, another idea would also be a Hitman movie, because he hasn't really done a Hitman movie other than Kill Bill and Kill Bill Volume 2. Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 is a Hitman. It's kind of a Hitman movie. Although they're all kind of Hitman movies in a way. But I'm talking about like a serious Hitman movie, which Kill Bill was. He could also do Kill Bill 3, too, which I thought. But he doesn't want to do Once Upon a Time Part 2. He gave that to David Fincher, basically. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood Part 2. I just found out last night, that Once Upon a Time in America was Sergio Leone, whatever his name is, the guy that did the spaghetti westerns. Same guy. I was like, weird. That's so weird. I just found that out. That's why one of the characters is named Noodles, that James Woods plays. Another idea too, that I was thinking, some ideas, because I know he's probably coming up with ideas. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I could see the movie critic being kind of stale, because he's going to go to the 1970s. I'm trying to think if any of them are modern day. Kill Bill might be. I'm trying to think, because what I'm thinking about too is what I thought about all 9 of his films is how they switch around in time. Like you go to the 1940s for Inglourious Bastards, you go even further back to the 1800s, almost around the Civil War, and then before the Civil War for Django Unchained, and then after the Civil War for Hateful Eight. He could even maybe go do another Western. You never know. But anyway, I was watching this thing that's really cool. I've been watching it for a while. It's called Filmmakers Cinema Masters, whatever. It talks about every filmmaker, everything from the German director that directed the Passion of Joan of Arc, which is a silent film. I can only say it in my head, but anyway, I know that he's like I think, oh man, it's weird. It's like I only can say his name in my head for right now. But he was well known, and all their different styles, from David Lynch, Quentin Tarantino's mentioned, Martin Scorsese's mentioned, but then there's other silent film directors that are mentioned that go all through all these different silent age. Then, of course, Ingmar Bergman, things like that are mentioned. But there's tons of directors, like John Huston's mentioned, John Ford's mentioned. And I looked something up. John Huston worked with Marlon Brando. I need to figure that out, too. I think maybe if he sticks to Hollywood, he could do another kind of version of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Although, I'm trying to figure out where Jackie Brown took place. I know there's a mall. It's like a Californian mall, like Inland Empire kind of thing, with Jackie Brown. Not the movie Inland Empire, which I went to the premiere and met David Lynch. I'm talking about where it's set. Like it's set in like a rough area of Los Angeles. But it's probably going to be California. I think most all of them have ties to California. If the John Wayne character in Inglourious Bastards was connected to California, maybe. And then I think also, if you look at not Hateful Eight, but Hateful Eight 2, but Django Unchained has Texas ties. So even if you did a Kill Bill 3, you could bring it into Texas for a little while. There's a lot of things he probably has on his mind on what he's going to do. But it's always action-packed, and it's also colorful. It's almost like a cartoon, his stuff is, even though it's very real. You could easily turn all those movies into cartoons. Also, another thing he could do, too, is almost like a Beverly Hills Cop kind of thing. But he could be working with a cop that was like let go, but yet kind of gets revenge, but then that may not be good either. He did it a little bit in Reservoir Dogs, because that was an undercover cop that ends up getting it. I don't know if he's gone to Vegas yet. I'm trying to think exactly where Jackie Brown's set. I'll have to look at that one. Hateful Eight was set in Wyoming, but it was filmed in Colorado, in Telluride, Colorado. And then I found out that Django Unchained starts in Texas, and then it moves eventually to Mississippi. Candyland's in Mississippi. Goes through like Tennessee and stuff like that. So they don't all have California ties. He hasn't really done a lot in New York. He has auditioned in New York. But old school New York, too, because he likes Taxi Driver. He could even do one about a taxi driver. Ooh, squirrel. Dryer. Alright, I just came up with an idea. So, what ends up happening in the surreal novel is it goes out of the story, kind of. I kind of saw this a little bit with a movie called The Pizza Movie with the guy from Stranger Things. Anyway, so it goes out of the movie, all of a sudden these tables pull up next to the devil, which is frozen in the bottom layers of hell, and he's frozen in this pond. They pull these tables up, and there's a big circle around him, and he's like eating people, right? Basically, he's eating three. He's eating Judas from, Judas's leg sticking out of his mouth from the Divine Comedy, and then, of course, Cassius and Brutus and Cassius are being eaten from the side faces. So there's three faces, and then it goes around, and the table goes around, and then there's like people at the table. It's like Quentin Tarantino's like at the table. He's like sipping on things. He's talking about his movies. It's kind of like the same thing with Reservoir Dogs, where the shot goes around, but they're all like talking, and then there's like other people, like the Pope is there and he's blessing people, you know, and then Hitler's at the table, you know, and he's like eating cheese, but he's mad. And then right next to him is Charlie Chaplin dressed up as Hitler, that kind of thing. Then there's a few writers and maybe some painters and things like that. Daniel's not there though. He's only a passerby. So there's people passing by, like looking, kind of like at the zoo almost, but they're like underground in this cavern. I'm talking about Daniel Coppex. So he comes back in. Yeah, it's interesting. But if I did have Quentin be a part of it, because I think he's a pretty good actor. I mean, a lot of people don't think he is, but it would be cool. But he'd play himself in that scene. And then, of course, he also would play Clinton Snarcino. Because Clinton Snarcino is a filmmaker in the novel who gets busted for helping a judge out who's connected to the Lone Star hacker. Because they were swindling Bitcoin money, basically. And he could also be a part of that, too. He could play the Clinton Snarcino scene. I've only written one scene, but the next scene that I'm supposed to write is going to be by the pool. So at that point, he's at the pool, and he's kind of like trying to talk his way out of what they're going to do to him, and they're going to basically electrocute him. I remember talking about this, and he's trying to talk his way out of it somehow. Kind of think of Breaking Bad, or actually better yet, rather than Breaking Bad, think of Better Call Saul. And so they got these like electrical cords, kind of like It. Have you ever seen the movie It Follows? It Follows, and they're throwing things in the pool to kind of like, it's basically almost kind of like that, to kind of like, let's see if it'll electrocute them. Like, have you ever seen that movie It Follows? What happens if I throw this extension cable, you know, yeah. Oh yeah, Brad Pitt's supposed to be part of it too, yeah, because he's playing Jed Wilson. And so they got him in the pool, and he's like, hey, what about if I, have you ever seen that movie It Follows, you know, where they throw stuff in the pool? Do you think that really works? And he doesn't know. He's like, I don't know, it might not. But this is a smaller pool. That was an Olympic-sized pool in the movie. You have to see It Follows. They might get that. They throw a bunch of stuff in the pool, and It Follows, try to electrocute this demon kind of thing. Anyway, mailbox. You gotta ask yourself, like, nowadays, would Charlie Manson be a YouTuber? Okay. Something with me and black cats. He's gonna try to cross. I think there's a little bit of white on the back part. I mean, on the belly. Sorry.
could save her. Save the blind tide.
All right, I got it. Send the code in. I got the license plate and the cruiser number. Sending it through. 651 plate 185. Plate 185159. Cruiser 651. Silver Sage. Marking target 447. Going for radio. You can't beat radio.
Racing through Radiator Springs.
Friday, April 24th. Marking. Mapping. Going for map. About right here. 5-9. Send units. Over. So a lot of them, they do sell. It's highly illegal, and it's prison time for them too. We're talking about cops. They sell this product. They cannot use lethal force or hold lethal force against anyone in this particular field, okay? So they can't sit there and show force over this matter because that's doing it for money, and that's highly illegal, and that's severely corrupt. I got his license plate. It is a cruiser. It's a black cruiser. I believe it's Fort Worth Police. I know they're corrupt. And I also got a cruiser number too. And they're blocking down those units because they go in there and they get money for it. Now, they're already getting paid state money. But what they're doing is they're using force, and they better not think it's funny because the FBI is going to get this information because it'll be reported to the FBI. I marked it close by. So I marked everything pretty clearly. Western Center Boulevard is where he's off of, but he's a corrupt cop. He's sitting there showing force. So that's been marked. And listen, they want money. The government wants money. The government's in trouble. This government is in a lot of trouble, not because of Iran. And this goes all the way to the top. It goes all the way to the top. We have listen, the last thing we fear is the top. Okay? It's the last thing we fear. Let me tell you something. You don't think this is real? You better watch out. This represents faith, love, hope, and charity. That ain't going to be beat in any courtroom. It's not going to be beat in any federal. Meaning no one's going to beat that in any debate. Any debate, it filters through faith, love, hope, and charity. All right, this goes all the way to the top. Let me tell you something. It's not Iran that's their threat. The American people are the ones that are in control. Always remember that. And the American people represent this: faith, hope, love, and charity. Their little dogs, where they do the little visit to the police station and make the little smile in the camera, like, oh, I'm Mr. Criminal. We're not afraid of any of his troops, okay? Let me tell you something. They're criminal. We're talking about COPs. They're criminal. That's criminal behavior. That's gang behavior, and it'll stop immediately. It'll stop right now. I've already got the date on it. I've already marked one of their corrupt cops. All right? Corrupt. We got them on all different ways. We got them. Actually, doorbell cameras got them. We got them surveyed. They fear just as much as anyone else fears. All right? So we've got it marked right there. That's criminal behavior. That's gang behavior. Coming right there from the state, coming right there from the police. Gang behavior from the police. And listen, if you don't think I'm telling the truth, who just recently got arrested yesterday? It was a police officer for planning threats against other people. A police officer planning threats against the public. I already got his license plate. I already got him marked right now. I'm sending it to Facebook. So this is how it went. I saw that cruiser at a distance coming up behind me when I was in this one neighborhood that's way off. Here's one of his buddies right here. It's Haltom City. It could be Haltom City. I'm probably going to change that, but it's still considered Fort Worth, though. Haltom City is. It might be Haltom City. But for right now, I'm going to put FWPD because it looked that way. But they'll figure it out through the plate and the cruiser number. I didn't get a name or anything, but I saw him coming around way, like, in my distance and behind me. So I turned to the left, went down a block, went down another block, and then I went to another house because we do stuff for ADT. That's basically a security company. It's the oldest security company in the world. It's older than most police departments. Now, they happened 9 years after the Civil War is when ADT formed. The ADT has probably caught a lot of Klan members, if you want to know what I mean, and some corrupt cops. Finally, I went back to another round and went through another. There he was, stopped right there right before our house. Didn't see if anyone's in it, but I know for sure that was probably either part of his patrol, but he was stopped right there. So I got all the information I needed to get and filed it. So don't know why. He wasn't out of the vehicle. He wasn't knocking on a door because he wasn't out of the vehicle. And he was probably just sitting there. So they're probably trying to trump something up, if you know what I mean. I don't know what they're trying to do, though. But listen, they're enforcing a certain amount of money from people. This goes for any type of thing that they try to get you on. It goes all the way back to Gerald Ford, because Gerald Ford was basically a Satanist. Gerald Ford was proven as a Satanist. He was also, he was never elected, and he was put into office, too. But it goes back to just basically corrupt laws and stuff that they enforce. Remember, if you want to get an abortion, all you got to do is go and do it, and you'll go right to hell. And who will enforce it? The cops will enforce it. But other organizations won't enforce it. Remember, cops enforce things that are evil, just like abortion, right? Abortion's evil, and they enforce it. So if you're like, I want to get my abortion, then all you got to do is be enforced by the cops to go get your abortion. They enforce a lot of bad stuff, right? They enforce what they can, and what they get paid to do is to enforce bad stuff. And the cop in Vegas, thank goodness they got him and stopped him before he killed a bunch of people. Because that guy was corrupt. He has a name, too, if you look it up in Google. Go to Google and say, corrupt cop arrested in Vegas. It'll tell you all about this corrupt cop that they busted. And by the way, that was reported to the FBI, by the way. So before you get all, here's my badge, that's reported to the FBI. And the FBI, when the FBI rips you out of your home or rips you out of your vehicle, you're going to know what it feels like ripping people out of vehicles and hurting other people. Because the FBI can. So don't worry about it. So another thing, who monitors the FBI? I'll tell you who monitors the FBI. The GBI. The GBI can too. Also in the future, there's going to be other organizations that are going to be able to rip you out of your car and make the arrest and say, get on the ground. And they're not going to say it this way. They're going to say it just like you say it to us. Get on the ground! Right? Take your sidearm off and lay it on the ground now! Listen, you can tell someone's attention when they're parked. You can tell immediately just like that. Okay? You can tell immediately just like that. I'm like, dude, I know immediately that guy's corrupt. I can tell just like that. I can tell one thing, where he's parked. What was he parked there for? He's got to have a reason to be parked there. Right? So let him make up his reason. And lying, too, is perjury. If you lie and you're a police officer, you make a little white lie at all, it's perjury. Practically. Listen, the first thing I'm going to do is have him drug tested. That's the first thing. I'm going to have the cop drug tested. That goes for any cop I run into. The first thing is have them drug tested, and drug tested well. Not the wrong way, but the right way. Then we'll go from there after we get the drug tested. So when we find the drug that they're on, then we move on to the next one. That's almost exactly it. Only not red is blue. Big time almost is what I wrote in rib. But it has a license plate there. It's not red, though, in the back. It's blue, but it's rusted on the top. I said rusted white, but it's also rusted that color, too. Okay. I went with, I'm going with these now. But I went with this, which is the best thing they have other than the hot dogs. They're buffalo. It's Nashville. I don't know why they call it Nashville. It's Nashville, whatever this is. It's like a chicken Nashville thing. Kind of looks like that. Pretty good. It's not bad. It's better than the steak ones, but it's kind of hot. It's not spicy. Yeah, it kind of gets creamy. It's creamy right here. It's not spicy. just the temperature on it's hot. These are basic Cheetos right here. These are actually my new go right here. The Cheetos crunchy jalapeno. It's less to deal with on the fingertips. Because the flaming hot ones, they stain. You gotta spray your fingertips down with like a hose. It sprays the fingertips, or it gets the hose again. So, a few of the directors never did close-ups. They would just push in. Or they never zoom. There's a few directors that never zoomed, or they didn't like the zoom. I think John Ford might have been one of them. But they had these ways of capturing things. And then like you look at Robert Duvall, he worked in the Neighborhood Playhouse with Sandy Meisner in New York. He knew theater. So in Tender Mercies and stuff, he's standing at the window and the camera's far back. And it gets him from a distance. And it doesn't ever do a close-up and stuff. So some of them really don't do close-ups, you know? There's a whole thing, I'll see if I can find it. It's about cinema and the masters of cinema. And he might have did close-ups, but he didn't zoom. Yeah, John Ford didn't zoom. But he might have done close-ups. He was more theatrical with how he filmed things. It was like from a faraway distance, very cinescope. Right there is where they did Dragon Ball Z. They would record it in that building. So a bass drum and a cymbal and a snare drum falls off the cliff. You know what kind of sound it made? Ba-dum-bum. So, ba-dum-bum. So all right, so a snare, a bass, drum, and a cymbal falls off a cliff. When it hit the ground, what kind of sound did it make? Ba-dum-bum. See, fighting's changed over time. A long time ago, it used to be you had your armor on, in the medieval times. Catapult bombs would be flying over your head. You had a two-handed sword, and you were fully armored. And arrows would be sent from the archers, and horses and all this stuff. And everyone would run out in the battlefild, and they'd start swinging and all this craziness. Eventually, when we got the gunpowder, they put an X on their front, tell them to stand real still, and everyone shot. Whoever got hit, that's how they lost, or cannonballed. Then, all of a sudden, things changed. And people started hiding in trees. They didn't necessarily fight fair. That's how the Revolutionary War took place, really. They're like, I'm not going to stand there with an X on my chest. I'll fight, but I'm going to do it in kind of a secret way. Also, I like what Eddie Murphy said in his stand-up comedy. He's like, I can act like I'm going to fight. Yeah, he could act like he was going to fight. Some people do that, and sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. But you never really know. Okay, I got an idea. So Daniel actually wants to be Shep. That's why he gets the mask, makes the mask, gets him the sleeping medicine, puts him to sleep. Then later, after Wendy Willows goes after Shep, then Daniel goes after Wendy Willows as Shep, like getting revenge for Shep. Wendy Willows is Eternal Affairs. That'll have to come in eventually. That's where I might bring in the Aurora song. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a song that she sings in NPR. This kitty is gravy lovers, ocean whitefish. What will tomorrow's kitty be?
You touch him.
If I squeeze his paw, no, he knows he's being filmed. He won't do it now.
It's not his paw.
There he
it's his
goes.
arm.
He's been licking me as I squeeze his paw.
It's about to bite you.
He's found interest in something else. Kitty. Just go back into public solitude, kitty. That way, there you go. Okay, that's not really public solitude. Now he's gone to biting rather than, there he goes. Now he goes, well, it almost goes to licking. He wants his paw back.
Okay, that's enough.
There he goes. Now you're bitey, kitty. See, he's really nice to me, but on the vlog he bites.
Quit it.
Okay, he wants to be an aggressive kitty.
You were holding.
Ow. See, everything's mean. When the vlog happens, everything's mean.
You're. So cute.